Hi, this is a myofascial release class. You'll need 2 balls, preferably recovery rounds or tennis balls, which have a little give to them. Put those to the side, begin in a comfortable seat. And just notice the arriving into the practice. So you can close your eyes and feel the ground beneath you. Feel the body just be still. Feel a sense of settling or steadiness, knowing that there is nothing else you need to do or get done right now. Just to be here is enough. Scan through the body. Just briefly feeling the lower parts of the legs, up the thighs, and the hips. And notice the pelvis sitting. We'll just feel our spine upright. And we'll begin. So, well, we already began, but now we'll start with our tools. So you'll go ahead and put the balls under your, you're going to sit on the balls. And I'll show you that roughly we're going to be envisioning our cheeks like a circle, and we'll find the bullseye spot right in the center. And we'll just sit right down on them with our hands behind us. And cross fiber or just wag side to side a little bit, forward and back, until you just find a spot that feels like you can kind of soak in and sink into it. This is a lot of sensation. If it's too much, do this laying down. It will be less. If you feel like you can kind of work into it, stay. Let your knees knock in. And we'll begin to bring our little mini windshield wiper side to side. So the balls are staying in the exact spot. We're not moving them anywhere at all. We're just pinning down the tissue. And by moving our knees right to left, we're getting a gliding effect. So anything adhered or stuck can have a sense of space, some movement, circulation, very little effort. Not concerned about range of motion, just side to side. Great, and now we'll keep our feet on the ground and maybe draw some circles. Checking out and noticing if there's another spot somewhere close by that feels good or helpful. And then just return to that center of the hips, the center of the butt. Right in the center, find one spot to work with, and we'll cross our right ankle over our left thigh and lean to the right cheek. Wag your tail a bit and just lean into the right ball. Maybe as you wag side to side, forward and back, you might find a tender trigger spot or a sensational spot. And if you find something, mostly our body weight's on the right side, just stay with it, feel your breath. Just give it a moment to soak in, allow your pelvis to drop heavy. And we'll do the other side. So uncross it, left ankle cross. Now lean to the left. So we're trying to find our piriformis trigger spot, or one of them. If the wrists get tired, you can feel free to come to your forearms. Of course, you can lay all the way down, which I often do this sequence laying on the back. It's just the more up you are, the more pressure. So if you tend to not feel it when you're laying down, it's nice to take that seat. Side to side, wag or draw a circle and find one spot. So how do you know if you're in the right spot? There's not really a wrong one unless it's painful. But it feels like, ooh, that's a knot, or that's a trigger spot, or that could be, worked on, like a place where you'd want to get a massage. One breath in. One breath out. Great, uncross it, and again, we'll go side to side, kind of wagging around, not really to massage the whole surface area of the glute muscles, and the piriformis, but just to sense, ooh, is there another spot I want to work with? Maybe go higher up, maybe lower down, and just pause in the center, knees knock in one more time. So let that internal rotation of the hips on the exhale soak into it. So just allow for it. And we'll bring the balls to the lower part of our, almost where our sit bones are. So above the hamstring connection to the butt, but pretty much on the lower butt. And for this one, we'll straighten out the legs and see if you can find a spot there close to the sitting bones. And if you want, you could sort of hinge forward and back, side to side. And then we'll just sit upright for a moment. If you're like, I don't know if I'm in a spot, it feels like I'm on my sitting bones, just bring them up a little, maybe bring them closer together. So you have plenty of space to work with. You stay, I'm gonna show you where I'm getting at. So the sitting bones are here, and we're just right here, okay? So anywhere right around here. We're sitting right on the balls, sitting upright, ooh. Ooh, and you can lean back a little. So we're not on the hamstrings, we're above the sitting bones, and you can also go like this with your feet. Just in and out, in and out. Oh boy, that feels good. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. And we'll glide the balls down. So now they're gonna go right where that most top part of one of the hamstrings is, above the, below the cheeks of the butt, but as high up to the leg as you can. And we'll find the center of the hamstring. And so you can, ooh, I'm especially sore today because I did a class, I filmed a class yesterday that was so hard. But if you're not super sore and you don't feel this at all, the next phase would be to begin to lean into it. Now this is important. We're not leaning into it to get a stretch in the hamstrings. We're just delivering more body weight, the trunk of our body, over the ball to get a little more pressure into the ball. So for me, I feel it here. I don't need more pressure. But if you don't, that's when you start to kind of crawl forward. More doesn't mean better. Find one spot that feels helpful. Just stay. Okay, now an inch or two below, so in the direction of the knee. So I'll show you guys, I was right here. Now we're gonna go here. Okay, both at the same time, right in the center. Try to do the center one. And again, we'll just bring the feet in and out like this. So we're just, I'm realizing my feet are kind of dirty. But anyway, in and out, in and out. And I'm doing this real lazily. So the ball's staying in the same spot. I'm just kind of allowing this movement to give a sense of glide. And then find stillness, stay upright, or again, start to lean into it just enough to feel, the knees can be bent a little, just enough to feel the hamstrings, to feel a spot. You might have to make some adjustments. You might need to bring that, and you'll just use your own senses to feel, where do I need that ball? Really try to get just right in the center. That's the line we're working. And pause when you feel just the right amount of sensation. Sometimes we tend to want to do more because we think we'll get more benefit. The phenomenal news about myofascial release is more does not equal more benefit. We are working the connective tissue. Therefore, even the subtlest sensation can do tremendous amount of healing. I know we love to feel it. We want to know it's going. We want to know it's working. Think of it like this loving hydration to the tissues. And just this suppleness, this care. It's like just a gentle, tender hug, not a squeeze, just a kind of a softness. Okay, bring the balls an inch or two. When I say an inch or two, I'm just not really good with dimensions, but we're just bringing it a smidgel in the direction of the knees. Okay, so now we're halfway between the hip point and the knee. And you can again kind of for this one, you might even just drag the feet in and out a little bit, maybe internal, external. And when you find a spot here, this one you most likely will need to lean into it a bit to get the sensation, yeah? So you can even rest your forearms on your thighs to get a little bit more weight there. And I just realized something. I was like in this clench a little, a mini upright, like lifting. And then I was like, just let the legs give in. And it was really nice. And if you're like, you still don't really feel anything, you might need to adjust the ball in or out. And then just lean into it and allow. Just take a couple moments. Remember, we're hydrating the tissues. We're creating some suppleness, some circulation, some energy to these hardworking muscles that we don't often pinpoint and focus on. Great, and then we'll just come do one last spot, so a little closer to the knee, which you might need to really go in and out a little more, and you may not feel this as much. Side to side, which again is okay. And we will lean, find a spot and just kind of lean the body weight into it. Less of a stretch, more just of delivering more body weight over our tools. Maybe even the elbows and the head to the hands. Great, and come on up and we'll take the balls out and we'll actually just lay down on our back supine. Have the balls close by. Take a moment to, again, scan through and just feel now the body offloaded on the ground. Feel the hamstrings and hips. And we'll make our way to bring the balls to the lowest part of the back, right above the sacrum. So this is our last piece of this brief class. So above the sacrum, so the very lowest part of the back, we will put the balls an inch apart. So they're really close together. And now we'll kind of glide side to side, inch up and down a little bit, and find one spot. Balls aren't on bone. They're above the sacrum. So they're above the posterior hip points, and they're on either side of the spine. Well, if you feel this already and it's nice, stay, or bring one knee up and the other knee up toward your chest and just rock a little left to right. So we're just giving the very lowest part of the back some attention, and we're rocking in this soothing, sort of like a nurturing, like you would a baby, you know, this sweet low back that really just holds a lot, you know. Whether you have low back pain or not, we do a lot that puts pressure on our back. So this action of just coaxing these tissues into ease, not because we're forcing, not because we're pulling on them, more so that we're just paying attention to them with care. Find center and just stay. Make this easy. You're not squeezing in. You're just holding your legs toward you. Okay, so lower a foot and the other foot down. And we will begin to bring the balls wider. So they were right on either side of the spine. Now they're about 2 or 3 inches apart from each other. And most likely you won't feel much right now. So if you know where your PSIS are, or the posterior hip bones, you'll have the balls right above them, okay? And then again, you'll bring your knees up and we'll just rock right to left. I have my knees a little wider this time just because it feels comfy. And once you get to, let's go to the left first. Once you go to the left, you'll just sort of draw some little circles. We're primarily focusing on the left side, and we're getting into the low back and even a smidge of oblique and maybe QL, but QL is a little higher up, but you might be able to get into there. We're just kind of finding our left side halfway to our side, drawing circles, and now go to the other one. So you can have your knees fairly wide, and we're just circling around, rocking around until we feel sensation. And if you don't feel much, that's okay. Paying attention to this right side of the back, above the sacrum, really in the low back there. And we can go side to side, and if there's any particular spot you missed or that is calling you, sometimes I'll guide you into a spot and you'll be like, oh, I just want to put that ball 1 inch up or to the left, and you'll sense it. Go with it. But also be aware that we don't want to just move around and do a bunch of stuff. We're really trying to be specific and purposeful in our actions. And we will place our feet back down on the ground. And now find the sides of your sacrum. So we're tracing the sacrum. Really important, often overlooked areas. We are on either side of the sacrum. We were above it. Now we're in our upper hips. So we're not in the lower part. We worked a little earlier, the mid part. We're in the upper part. And we're on either side of the sacrum, this is just so delicious. So you'll go up and down. You're not on the bone. You're very close to it. And you'll rock right to left here. So I want you guys to just stay and investigate this, and I'll show you on the camera if you're not sure what I'm talking about. I'll show you. So here. Not here. Okay? So, and then you'll just feel around for that. But try to keep those balls as close to that top of the sacrum as to the bone as you can. And now just lean to the left one. So nuzzle up and down and left and right, like you're trying to get that ball right in the connections, all these little attachments to that bone. Oh, and just let that ball soak in at a diagonal into, toward the sacrum. Relax the pelvis, relax the muscles deep inside there, and we'll go to the other side. So glide up and down, upper sacrum, and notice how wide this bone is. Sometimes we think it's a lot smaller than it is. And see if you can lean into it, side to side, almost like and we're just at the top corner of the side of the sacrum. Notice if this side feels different than the other. One feels more sensitive or tender. Come back to center, and now bring the balls 1 inch down. I want you to notice that as we bring the balls down, they will have to come closer to each other because the sacrum is like a triangle. And it starts out wide, which makes sense, right? To hold up the whole trunk of the body. And then it goes all the way to toward the coccyx into a point. So you'll bring the balls down 1 inch and just a tiny bit closer together. The way you'll know is you'll feel that hard edge. That's your bone. That's your bone. And so we're just going a little lower, and same thing, side to side. Lean to the left, kind of massage out that. Oh, really, we don't really spend a ton of time with this area. Stay still, but notice if you're holding up at all, and let the tissues just melt into it. Especially the pelvic floor muscles. We really want to give them permission to unwind. Just flutter open. Other side. So first you're gliding side to side, kind of kneading the dough, which is not dough, but kneading into it. And then you're just letting the stillness resonate and reverberate. Ah. Back to center. So down, the balls go down and closer to each other. So we're tracing it. And side to side, side to side, up and down a little, lean to the left. Oh my. This is an interesting spot. You know what I just did? I went to grab for my mat because it was for me, it was like an interesting, unique sensation, and I went to hold on. So just giving your body a moment to soak in there. Notice what's gripping. Notice what can maybe soften a tiny bit. Other side. Ooh. So you're leaning, maybe fanning that right knee to the right. Nuzzling the ball right up toward that bone. Back to center. So bring the balls down. So now the balls are gonna be touching. This is our last spot. And they will be, you know, a little below the start of the butt crack. I'm just gonna get real technical there. So that we can get that point of the sacrum. And you're almost trying to see if the balls can, it's almost like they're going as close together as they can here. So lean to the left, sort of an intimate spot. And lean to the right. And then just find center. So you'll use your own intuition to find one spot that you feel like, okay, I can just stay with that. Knees knock in. I want an internal rotation, feet wide, hands rest, maybe on belly. And let yourself just let this be very subtle. But what we're doing is we're getting some of these less commonly noticed areas that grip without and attach and bind. And we're just softening this area, connecting to the pelvic floor muscles, okay? Really good stuff. Let it just soften. Let your body melt as if the balls are soaking up and in, and you're just marinating and just molding and melting over the ball. And that's it. Take the balls out and we'll lay in a brief shavasana. Okay? So I want you to check this out. So we did a brief, work with the piriformis, and we moved to the lower glute max to hamstring connection all the way through one of the 3 hamstrings on each side. And then we traced the sacrum for all these attachments. It's kind of a unique class, but I want you to see and sense the low back, the pelvis, and specifically breathe with those deep pelvic floor muscles. The tissues in there, are tissues that are so brilliant. I mean, they allow for us to go to the bathroom and more things. But just see if we can give them permission to just soften and melt and flutter open and be. So we'll stay for just a few moments. Take a deep breath in. Sigh it out. And just shake out through the wrists and the ankles. Bend your knees. Ease your way to seat. Any position. Actually, if you wouldn't mind sitting the way that we began. Notice your pelvis on the ground. Notice your sit bones. Feel your back. Hands full to heart. Thankful that we took the time for our practice and we give it all away. May there be peace and love for all. Thank you so much for your practice. It really means a lot. Namaste.